it's important to understand that we're still dealing with the after effects of alcohol prohibition. Alcohol prohibition, which evolved the concept of it and spread during the late 19th century and into the early 20th century, that was aimed at the so-called saloon problem. There really was a problem there. That again, saloons, number one, were not exactly the sort of thing that you go into today. Even the sleaziest bars today would be almost church-like compared with the saloons, because the saloons were quite often also brothels. And not only did you have prostitutes hanging out there, but you had politicians, which sort of ruined the tone of things for everybody. But the reason, that, for example, in a lot of states, and it may still be in some, is that on election day, saloons, bars, alcohol could not be served until the polls closed. Now, I've had it rather charming when people talk about whether Bloomberg or Trump can buy the election. Because in the good old days, you didn't buy the election by buying lots of time online. Obviously, 19th century Google was awful. But what happened was that they would go in and buy drinks, everybody who was voting for their candidate. In fact, the saloon may have been a polling place. So saloon culture was a real problem. That's not the thing. But what happened with the alcohol prohibition is that, yes, you kill the saloon culture, but you also, you kill the wine culture, you kill the civilized drinking culture, you kill the idea of knowing or caring what was in what you were drinking, and then you created this phenomenon which we call organized crime, Al Capone being the most famous entrepreneur in that. The fact is that he was performing a service, delivering alcohol, which a large segment of the population wanted. Alcohol prohibition was repealed in the 1930s, and now, almost 100 years later, we're still dealing with the after effects of alcohol prohibition in terms of, we have a big problem that goes far beyond this, with defining what is or is not an adult, and at what age you can vote when you're 18, but you can't drink when you're 18. If you live in a medical state with legal marijuana, you have to wait till you're 21. You want to go to Afghanistan and get your ass blown off, go ahead, sonny. But when you come back, and one of the effects of this, by the way, in terms of alcohol, is we have a continuing problem with 18-year-olds getting really deadly drunk at fraternity parties or other things like this, and ODing on alcohol. Thank God we save them ODing on marijuana. If alcohol, particularly beer and wine, were legal for 18-year-olds, you could have adult supervision. But you can't have an adult supervisor there with alcohol consumption with it being illegal, because they're breaking the law. It isn't, wave a magic wand and make it go away. Again, dealing with marijuana prohibition, and we have the same problems that we had with ending alcohol prohibition. And I really just don't want to think that we're going to be making a mess of marijuana for the next 100 years. This is something that we need to learn from our mistakes. In fact, mistakes plural, because it's about both alcohol and cannabis. We need to learn about both and not let these laws be written by quacks and narcs.